everyone, and welcome to UI5ers Live. Today we have two guests with us, and they are Hanna Olbert. Hi. And Adrian Marten.
Hi.
Yeah. Hanna is master's student for computer science at the Technical University in Darmstadt and works as working student at SAP. She recently developed a new custom task for the UI5 Ecosystem Showcase that enables cache busting for standalone applications in the Cloud Foundry environment. And yeah, all the details then later by her. Adrian Marten has been active in the UI5 development as consultants by quite some years, I believe. Heard your name so often. Yeah, and he is one of the creators of the UI5 test recorder and recently published a really cool new testing tool, or it's rather a successor of the UI5 test recorder, I think.
Yes.
And yeah, it's called the UI5 Journey Recorder. And yeah, we get a short introduction to this tool by him then later. Yeah, and then present again are Stefan Beck.
Hey.
Peter Music.
Hi.
And Andreas Kunz.
Hello.
Yeah, guys, before we start with the actual topics, do you have anything to tell or want to share later on?
So one thing I think we can also share as an outlook on what's happening in OpenUI5 is that you remember this patch level independent bootstrap, what we developed for SAP.
What we also call evergreen URL.
Yeah, this will also soon be available for OpenUI5 with the next 110 release. And we have to do some prep work. So for that, finally, to make this enabled, but it will be available soon. You can already see a preview soon on OpenUI5 Nightly, but once this happens, we will also ping you that you can then see that via Twitter or any other channel we have. That's from my side.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it, I think yesterday as a tweet note that I always say best of JS, but it is state of JS.
Yes.
It's currently out. And I think that the SAP ecosystem or the SAP developers should have a voice in this survey. It would be cool if you have some time, check the survey and vote on what you know.
The survey is also pretty nice because in the beginning you get also some questions around the ECMAScript feature, so you can check yourself how good you are with the latest stuff there. And besides that, it would be good then also to see one or the other representing the UI5ers voice. Also maybe giving a vote to OpenUI5 and UI5 Web Components in that survey. So OpenUI5 as a front-end framework and UI5 Web Components as a library related to that. That would be nice because then we may also see that in the next year's results that we are also properly represented then in that community. And I think that would be worth to happen for that what we have invested in work and built here.
Yeah. I mean, we have been represented last year, no? So it would be cool.
Yes, last year we were on place 3 of the additional libraries. So hopefully this year we can maybe catch up to place 1 of the additional libraries, and let's see where this goes to.
Yeah, so really looking forward on the results there. So nothing else? Then I guess we can start, and I think we start then with Adrian.
So, okay, let's start first with a little bit of the history of the Journey Recorder. It was right, Margot. We started with the UI5 test recorder and we presented the UI5 test recorder 2019 at the UI5Con. And yeah, in the last years, we lost a little bit the focus and the contribution and maintenance. That was not possible for us. And this year, I got a nice email from the Chrome Web Store that the UI5 test recorder was removed out of the Chrome Web Store because we are not fulfilling the manifest v3 requirements, and the API also changed, and therefore they removed it. And this was the point where I started afternoon by afternoon to step by step rebuild it as a new application. And during this process, I I came in contact again with Volker Butzek, who told me that this was a really cool thing to start also for VDI5 testing, record VDI5 tests and so on. And that was then the, I will say, the reborn or the new coming up of the Journey Recorder. And so we, released it as a completely new tool, because most of the old stuff is gone. And yes, I think the most important change, we are not using UI5 anymore for the application for the UI5 Journey Recorder. We changed to Angular. Yeah, sorry, I was really sad about this. The coolest thing about the UI5 test recorder was you can test the test recorder with the test recorder itself. So recursion was really cool. It's not possible anymore, but by this we reduced the build size nearly by 80%. And that was one of the biggest factors why we moved.
As long as you say that you will use the UI5 web components in future, then for the Angular implementation of the language assistant, I would close one eye.
I had an eye on this in the last few months, because a lot of things in Angular are always struggling, like building up a list or whatever. You have a lot to do by your own, and I love the approach to use then UI5 because it's much more faster and reliable than build it up by your own. Yeah, okay. So that is the technical historical part of the UI5 Journey Recorder. We released it, I think, just in October, and Volker already showed it in the UI5 in the Devtoberfest, and showed it with VDI5. I wanted to show it today with OPA5 in the test setup, but I found a bug and I was not able to fix it, so I cannot directly paste my code into the test setup, so I just can show it to you, but I will fix it, I promise it for you. Okay, so what's the cool thing about the Journey Recorder? First thing, you can just interact with your application to record the whole test you want to achieve. It's like the whole journey. You don't have to waste time with picking out an element, picking all the different properties. You have the UI5 test recorder from SAP, but then you can just pick out simple small elements and paste them into your coding. And with the UI5 Journey Recorder, you are able to record the entire setup with one step and then get everything out of the code generation. So just for an example, I took the OpenUI5 to-do app, and you can easily start by selecting it in the list of open tabs you have. I will not reload the page. So, and now you can see the Journey Recorder is successfully injected. And when you want to have a look and be sure, then have a look. It's always the red border around the elements you are currently covering. So first, paste in some text. Let's take hello world as normally, and then press enter. So we have this. Then I will just show the active elements. Yeah, just click, not all. Then go to completed. These are all the completed elements. I will clear them now and go back to all. And that's just a small journey now. When I finish this one, you can see we have now all the different test steps here inside our application listed inside the Journey Recorder. And now we just have to give them a name. Let's call it UI5. Right, so then we can save it. And now we have this journey entirely saved in the Journey Recorder. And what you can do now with this stuff. So the first thing which comes in mind is, please give me the entire test code. So that's more or less the entire journey. generated out of your selected items. And additionally, you get the comment. I create always a comment page where all the necessary functions like pressing on a button or whatever, checking for a list, checking for taxes, is there wrapped inside of a generated general function. And then for each page, you got the normal view page, app page coding. So by this, you can just copy some snippets out of the code. You can download the entire code of the page, or you can download the entire setup. And as I said before, we have not only OPA5, we have also VDI5. The VDI5 code part is done by Volker. He contributed already the VDI5 test language for this. So this is one thing you can do. You can, and then that's the more exciting part for me. You can export the journey or import an already existing journey. So somebody else, not you as a developer, have to create the test. You can get the test. You can just go to the journeys. That are all the recorded journeys you have, and then you can say, I want to import one. And I have my downloads here. Just take this one. And yeah, after some seconds, we have
was already in.
Yeah, it was already in, but we can override it. So maybe I have just the same ID, but somebody adapted it. That's also possible. So I can import it now. I have the UI5ers live. Yeah, that's with smaller case. And here you can see we have the box clone 1, and we have an additional step. So these are the press on the checkbox here. And we have two checkbox clicks here. And in the other one, we have just one. And here it's a click action. So maybe somebody took my test, found something which is not correct. Maybe we have a validation step instead of a click step. He adapted it, saved it, and then exported it again and sent it to me back and said, okay, I have refined your test. You can import it now. And then you get the refined test. So again, we can just take out the code. We can also just see, okay, he changed maybe a little bit within the single control, where we have also a code preview for the single step. It's the same more or less as the UI5 test recorder of SAP already does. So I just added it as a neat feature to have some, if somebody wants to fiddle a little bit around with the code he gets. Also here you can change between OPA5 and VDI5 again. And if you change something on the control, like attributes, binding preferences, and put some more attributes into, you can always regenerate the code here and have a look, okay, I changed the properties, the bindings, and so on. Yeah. And then when I get maybe some tests from somebody other, I also can use these tests for debugging. As a software developer, you always get a bug or an issue where somebody says, that's not working, and you get a rough description of what he clicked and what he sees and what you expected to see. For UI5, this can be a little bit more precise approach, because you get then the test record or the journey you recorded by the journey recorder, import it as a developer, and then you can just hit replay. And I will start now in manual mode by testing. So the application starts defined with the site URL you have here. So you can also start in the middle of the application. And then you can just open your debugger. I don't need it now, but just open it, run it, and then you can run step by step. So this is type in the text for show yourself. We hit the first button, which is active here in the bottom. Then we can click the different items. They are now gone. So let's check again. we have completed here. So these are all the completed items, and then we clear them and have the last step is see all items which are now gone for this pod. And you can use this side by side with your debugger to reach the point where the bug comes up. And it's, I think, a really precise approach to reach this point where the issue comes up or where the problem arises. And the format of the export which you can import, it's not that big anymore. We had before a much bigger size, and it's just as JSON file. So as you can see, we have this UI5. It's just a small JSON file here. There is nothing harmful, and I think everybody can share it with the email, or you can attach it to your issue tracker and so on. And I think that's a really cool other possibility how to use the Journey Recorder. And otherwise, you don't need an entire test setup to check the application. You can also use the Journey Recorder and replay the steps also automatically. So therefore, we have this automatic replay delay. So maybe I think a second should be worth. You can okay, it was too fast. You can check the UI5 Journey Recorder by itself if the test setup is okay. So with 2 seconds delay, it's running through the application. It's making the steps step by step. It gets a response from the application. Yes, it worked. And then when it's finished, you will get the test result. And then it's also fine. So you don't need a VDI5 setup. You don't need an OPA5 setup just to check is the test running or not.
When the test is running, so you showed it before, step by step, you can go through. Can you delete steps and can you add steps then in between?
Not really.
Okay, you need to re-record it for now. So this is not a feature.
For now, it's not currently not there as a feature, but I think that's a good feature requirement. So that was also an intention by releasing the Journey Recorder. I'm at the point where I say I don't know what to add to the Journey Recorder, not to add too much or to fiddle too much around. But when you say, okay, neat feature, removing or adding a step at this point, yeah, it's a really cool feature, and I will add it to the issue tracker of the Git repo. So yeah. Yes. So that's more or less currently all the features we added here. I think that's when you compare it to the older one, we lost some features, but the most work were done in behind. So it's the core of the Journey Recorder was entirely rebuilt, and it's more stable than the older version. And the intention is really to have the community work with it and giving some hints, what can we improve, where are new features, and where can we add new features to the Journey Recorder to make it a good and complete tool for the all-day test recording. Yeah. So
where's the GitHub repository?
Where's the GitHub repository? It's here. Yeah, it's in the UI5 community already. So we edit it. Today I added also a new issue. We have currently 2 there from other people than me. I saw that the OPA5 generation has a bug, and it's not that adapted to the current way how OPA5 code should be written. So I added this one as an improvement. We have an error for the comment page, and currently just the question if it works with Fiori elements. I thought it worked because I tested it with the Fiori elements application, but maybe I have to check it a little bit more. Yeah, and my hope is to see somebody comes there and says, yeah, please, I need the ability, or I need a feature like adding steps or removing steps in between replay. That will be really cool to have something like this, so I know where to work on in the next month.
Oh, it looks really nice. So especially this side-by-side thing where you can play around and run it and test it immediately. The exporting parts. That's cool.
Yeah, and I hear a clear call to action then to the community. So check it out and think of new cool features that should be part of this. So we have here a really good testing tool helping with automating your tests.
So I know where the repository is, so I can take a look and play a little bit around. Never built a Chrome plugin so far.
Yeah, that's my second, third one. So it becomes better and better with the time. But yeah.
No, really awesome. So I like that. So everything which simplifies the life for developers, that's great. And this, I think, can save a lot of time when doing a recording for a test. And also with the different export possibilities, it's great to also supply then the different variants of testing, be it VDI5 or UI5 testing via OPA tests. That's really cool.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I also think it's really great work. Also simple design, but yeah, everything what you need. So it looks really, really nice.
Yeah, we can improve. I think we will then add some UI5 web components maybe then.
Yeah, that was the main thing where I thought of maybe to look into that from that perspective.
Try.
Okay, cool.
Any questions from the participants? Yeah, also Volker for sure says use it. So can only adhere this.
So if there are no questions, let's go ahead with the second topic, because that's also a nice topic what we have. Hanna, it's your turn, showing UI5 cache busting as a special new task.
Yeah, exactly. There was basically like, how did I come to do this, I guess? There was basically a need from a customer in my team, because I'm a working student in SAP support, and a customer had troubles with cache busting, so they would release a new build, but some end users wouldn't get their the newest changes, the latest version. So we came to Peter with this question, and because there wasn't an app cache buster yet available for.
Yeah, it was a little bit special. So you came more or less with a question whether we can use the app cache bus in the context for the for this, or in this scenario for the customers. And it was a special scenario here with the Cloud Foundry environment, where we have a bit of a different possibility with that environment. And with that, yeah, we thought instead of using the app cache buster, which is at the client side, also playing around and manipulating URLs, we had a different idea on that. And it was a little bit going in the direction that we want to use cache busting with having special URLs, having a cache buster segment when UI5 resources for the applications are being loaded. But instead of having a client-side component which is rewriting URL, we just wanted to do one thing with this cache buster task, which is quite different to the things what we have today. It's just manipulating the index HTML that the entry path for the application is having that cache buster token inside. So, and this is also what Hanna shows already as a preview on that, how it's being done. That we, instead of manipulating then at client-side URLs, do it more on the deployment side, that the application has an index HTML page with a cache buster token. And then the only thing what needs to happen, and this is possible on a CF landscape, for example, that if we deploy the resources in that with this path segment, so there are several options, Hanna can also explain it a little bit later on, and then later on loaded, we can have this cache busting concept running already properly for this application. And it's quite a little bit different, but then I will also stop talking and maybe Hanna can show the thing a little bit more. To that, what the app cache buster is doing. The app cache buster in the past, this was this module you loaded, and then it loaded an index file from the server, which had then per resource a cache buster token inside, and then at the client side, if this URL is requested, it added this cache buster token to the URL of the single file. and then it loaded it individually. And in case of a change of this single file, it has been an update for the next run on this index.json. And this is something we completely dropped because this rewriting of URLs is a bit problematic and it can cause also side effects. And we now went for a completely different approach, that we just shift the application into a segment with a path for all the application resources like we have here with the cachebuster token. And with that, we thought how to get that out, how to make this usable for the application. And that was the point when Hanna started to develop this task.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. So yeah, that's exactly what we did. So in the resource routes, we would rewrite, or we would add this cache busting token in these tilde symbols, which would force the resources to be reloaded if there was a new build, because each build would create a new timestamp we have here. And of course, the index HTML is never cached. So we have the default possibility. So we would add this custom task to our build script and YAML. And I put it here before the UI5 task zipper. So for deployment of the zip, we would have it in the zip as well. Exactly. So we have the possibility to move resources, which would mean that all of the controller model, like all of the static
application resources,
yeah, moved into a folder with the same name as the cachebuster token. And this is actually not necessary for deployment on Cloud Foundry. So in Cloud Foundry, for example, it would just ignore this token with the tilde, so we can build it without moving it. Let's just do that real quick.
So in the Cloud Foundry landscape, the speciality is that they have a cachebuster token handling implemented on the server runtime. And this means that if there is a first segment with a timestamp in these tildes, this will just be ignored. So if you deploy an application into a CF landscape and try to access the resources with a first segment, then having this tilde, timestamp, tilde, slash, and then the resource name, which would be normally available in the root of this CF service, then you can also access this resource. And we use this concept as a kind of a side effect now here for the deployments to CF to make use of cache busting. So then there is no separate deployment needed of putting these resources in an individual folder like Hanna had before in the dist folder. You can just deploy them in the root. And this simplifies the whole procedure a little bit more, and we don't need to have this move resources being active then.
Exactly. And I have created or generated an example application with the easy UI5 generator, just to show you guys. So I built this with having this false. So all of the resources are just in this dist folder, but the index HTML was adjusted. So this is what I deployed here. And when we reload, we can now see it's really slow for me right now. Sorry. Okay, so we can now see that, for example, the manifest is loaded from a URL which includes this token, but we still get a response. So yeah, it kind of proves that it's ignored this token in the tilde, like Peter just said.
Yeah, the same is for the component preloader case, and that's just a virtual segment the server adds, and we use that. So if you can just say right mouse on component preload, open a new window on this component, on the left-hand side in the network trace, you can say right mouse, open new window or new tab. And then you can also show you can enter just a different timestamp segment.
Yeah, and to move this control thingy.
Okay, yeah, we don't see it.
Yeah, okay.
So now if you add, let's say, some different digits, so it's important that are digits. So 2, 3, so for example, or so whatever, enter, then it still loads. So it didn't change now because it's the same resource. And this is more or less because this is a virtual segment in CF, we can make use of that. And that was the idea of having this new kind of cache busting concept, which works then on this CF landscape out of the box. And I think we also described that it works also on the new landscape, which is not, let's say, the official future landscape, but still there, it's also possible to make use of this cache busting concept. But there you need to add in the new JSON this property UI5 cache buster true also. And by just using this task now together with your application, it's a very easy thing to set up. You can use that with this move resources false for CF landscapes and for Neo landscapes. And in case if you want to do a deployment to any static web server, you keep the default. I think it's a default, right? Move resources true is the default.
Yeah, exactly. So if you don't have it at all, it's just
for static deployments to any other server which doesn't have or doesn't implement this CF concept or this UI5 cache busting concept, then just keep move resources true and benefit then from a proper deployment into a subfolder from where it's being loaded.
Mm-hmm. And just one extra feature. So if you have multiple HTML files, for example, you can exclude them from the move to the subfolder by putting them in this array. But this is ignored, obviously, if the resources are not moved. And it's published on NPM, and you can find it also in the Ecosystem Showcase under packages, if you want to have a look.
Yep. Cache buster, a little bit above, 2 above.
Yeah.
Just a fix 2 hours back. We made just a little fix really quick before UI5 was live. Yeah. So, and if you have also ideas when you play around with this task cache buster, then feel free also to contribute this idea to that. That's really welcome. Contribution is really welcome here. And I think it's even a better approach, especially compared to this client-side app cache buster concept, what we have in UI5 in place, where we modify the URLs on the client side with injecting some code into the creation of scripts or links or creating XHRs. So this is I would say, the much better approach for these standalone scenarios, definitely.
All right. Any questions?
Currently, I don't see any questions, but I'm really impressed. I think for me, it's always a kind of complex scenario with Cloud Foundry to figure out how everything works. So my compliment to you, Hanna.
Thank you. Peter helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Just a bit.
But yeah, I guess, was it like your first contribution to a community project there? Or?
Yeah, exactly. And
how was your experience there? Is it something that you could consider more often?
Definitely. It was a great experience, especially with Peter's support.
I can imagine it's like a one-on-one teaching.
Didn't need so much teaching. She didn't need that. Very self-responsible. So yeah, it's you see what happens if someone comes up with an idea, and if you then really brainstorm on this idea. And I want to say also this step-by-step evolved when looking into this scenario. So in the first step, we said, yeah, maybe just this move resources true concept that we shift everything into a subfolder is the best option. But then by accident, we hit into a scenario where we saw it's a bit strange how these URLs are being resolved and on the CF server. And then I remembered back that there is this special cache buster token handling in the URL. And with that, step by step, we evolved this concept of this cache busting for the CF landscape, and it can be also used for Neo. So with that, we have a very lightweight, let's say, cache busting mechanism for the standalone applications there. And that's a real cool thing. So you see small ideas or small issues, bring them up and raise them, and let's discuss that. And we can really make out more of that. And at the end, really a lot of people can benefit from that.
Yeah, I guess also for us, it's so important to understand the use cases behind and then to come with a proper solution for that then.
If there are more ideas, feel free to reach out.
Yeah, Christmas time, Peter needs some homework.
Yeah, let's see.
Again, thanks a lot, Hanna, for your work there, and I hope to see more from you.
Yeah, big thanks.
Thank you for inviting me here as well.
Yeah, you well deserved that. So also Adrian, so everyone contributing to the UI5 community, making a value addition to that. It's really worth to have you also here in that round. And I can just invite everyone, also the ones listening, come up with ideas, try something, play around with that, try to share it with the community. And then, yeah, you can also be part of that round here, show it then to all of us. And then later on, everyone can even watch that on YouTube in a video.
For example, but UI5Con next year hopefully is back, and also there we have a great audience and a great stage where we are happy to share community projects and all ideas and whatever.
So I think we made it in time, 3 before 4.
Yeah, and I'm very proud to say that more or less our agenda for next year or for the next episode in January, which will be the 12th of January, I think, is more or less scheduled. We will have a focus on UI5 tooling because there is something around the corner, no?
Tooling 3.x with some promising new improvements. Yeah, but don't speak too much. Maybe one thing soon, there will be most probably also beta out on that. The colleagues are working hard on that. And hopefully this even happens before Christmas. So keep fingers crossed or thumbs pressed or whatever. And that we can already have something to play around over the Christmas time. And then on January 12th, we will see them live talking about the UI5 tooling 3.0. And I think long-awaited features will come true.
Yep. So homework, have a look at it when the beta is there, because then you have the chance to ask your questions to the authors directly. So that's always a good thing, no?
Sure. And is more? What else?
What else? We have one guest again from HSE. There I'm really looking forward because he will he's even working with OpenUI5 and will showcase some scenario he's doing with OpenUI5 and TypeScript. And what was I think also some cloud solution, I forgot, but soon there will be the abstract on it. Yeah, and then we will also showcase a new feature in the OData v4 model. So I think cool topics. So I hope you will join us again. But for the moment, Christmas time around the corner, so relax a bit.
Happy holidays. Play around with the stuff from the community if you have time. Think about contributions.
Check the Journey Recorder and come up with some new ideas and features.
Yeah, that's one thing to look into for me. It's still a blind spot for me. The inspector, how is it? The Chrome extension thingy. Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
I'm a little bit frightened now.
Don't need to be. I'm friendly.
Okay.
Will be all good. So.
Okay.
So then.
Happy holidays.
Happy New Year, and hopefully see you in 2023 then.
Take care. Have a nice time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.